Hi everybody, and welcome again to another update on the progress of my South Olympic Branch model railroad, which is HO scale, basically Burlington Northern from 1970 to 1999, kind of a stretched era, and of course freelanced, which means I can do a lot of things that I want to do. And what I have done in this part of the video is cut some plywood for the upper deck to get the trains from the wall out to the peninsula. And what I'll do when I figure out where the track is come back and make some landforms, maybe cut some holes. So just lay it there, and in the diverging route position, you can see it just kind of... Okay, so something that I do that I don't see a lot of people do is I use Aleene's tacky glue to do my secure my track, and I've been told that it isn't strong enough, but I disagree with that because I've used it before and it works just fine. Then I've been told, well, it's more expensive than the liquid nail stuff that people like to use, and well, it is about double the price for a bottle like this, but it's not 9 ounces, it's 16. And if you get on the mailing list, a couple of the larger hobby suppliers that have big box stores around, you can get these coupons which make it cheaper. So anyway, so all I do is I usually have the bottle sitting upside down, leaning against the wall or something like that. And then I just come along and spread it out with the nozzle like this. And I find that it takes about 20 minutes for this to dry. And I'm using Pico Code 83 track, by the way. And I find that the Pico track, unless I'm doing a pretty sharp curve, I don't even need to weight this. I just put this stuff down in kind of a thin bead. And if I didn't get it in a thin bead, I could use a piece of cardboard or something and spread it out, right, if I wanted to. But I just put it down like this, and I'll put the track on there. I've already put the rail joiners on this piece of track, so glue fell over, of course. And I'm just gonna put these rail joiners on here and we'll be done with this section. Come on, baby, there we go. And then scoot it into place, get it where I want it. You know, it's not gonna be perfectly straight, but if you ever look at real railroad track, it's not perfectly straight either, especially in my neck of the woods. Well, okay, maybe modern line, you know, BNSF or Union Pacific double track or whatever, you'd look at that and it'd be pretty straight, but not out in Elma where I grew up. Anyway, now I'll just push that down and we'll wait a little bit and it'll be dry. Okay, for my next trick, as they like to say, I need to put in a crossover. And so I'm going to start with a couple of turnouts that I've started building. They're not quite done yet. I've got to gap them and install the Fast Trax quick sticks. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting for this to dry, which I just put down, I'm going to test fit this. I've got a little bit of road bed here, and that I've already put down, and some that I'm waiting for it to dry too. I used the Aleene's tacky glue on that. And I've already kind of been tinkering with this cork a little bit. Probably can't see it in the video, but there's a line that I've drawn on here for where I want the center line of the road bed to be. And then I'm going to kind of trim this out, glue it down, figure out where I want the holes for the throw bar to go, because I'm going to put tortoises underneath the layout for this. And then I'll come back when I know exactly where I'm going to put these. I will cut the gaps in the turnouts and then drill the holes in the base to put the turnouts down. And then I'll have a crossover. I've also got to figure out where I want the electrical gaps for the crossover too, so that's all taken care of. Anyway, and that will be the next step. This railroad's getting built one way or the other. So referencing the track that I glued down earlier, I'm now working on a piece of cork, and I'm just gonna do this. This one is going to be the base for a crossover, so it's a bit wider than the average cork is. So there we go. All right, and that should do it. Put the nozzle back on, put the glue back over there. And I've already got a line drawn on here and part of the cork for the other one of the lines on here. So I'm just going to lay that into place. Line, smooth it down, it's laying down, and voila. You know, cork comes in this strip that's actually two pieces, and if you've ever used this stuff, you'll notice that there's a ridge, and you can actually see that in the video right there, that is left on one side of it when you separate this in half. And I've always found dealing with this pretty annoying, but recently I discovered that if I took my flat file and just run it down the edge of this thing, it knocks that right off of there. And I do it. Okay, so I'm just going to take the file and just really wanted to show you guys how I do this. Just rub it across the edge of that thing. Now, I'm not going to have you sit here bored while I do the entire piece, but I guess it reminds me of scaling a fish, which I never had to do very much when I was fishing, when I did fishing, because I never really caught much. But that's another story. Yeah. I got out the paint and painted that part of the deck with my standard brown color that I can't think of the name of right now, but it doesn't really matter. Any flat kind of medium brown will do just fine. Start at the main line laying into the corner, and this gets down to about 31 inches radius. I wanted it to be bigger than that, but you know, you only have so much room you can work with, and that's just the way it goes. Even when you add on to your own house, you have limitations that you have to deal with. But it's going to be cool to have a railroad again. Turnout number 1 to the west end of the Elma yard has been installed, and it's hard to see in the video, but I've drawn lines on the deck here to indicate where the tracks would come down and meet the turnouts. And that'll help me put the turnouts in the right place for this end of the yard.